Good morning, Makané here, and I'm doing a reading for today. We're still just beginning to feel beginnings of spring where I am. And so today's reading is just to give us sort of the barometer. What is the energetic barometer for today? And we're using the archetypes, the wild unknown. Ooh. So here's our beautiful card for today is the Nectar. And the Nectar is all about the sweetness of life, the meaning for that whichever we undertake. There was a beautiful quote I read recently, and it was in the book All That We Can Save, which I'm obsessed with right now. And it's all about how it's evident, whatever we do, that it's worthwhile in the action itself. The action takes shape, and it lets us know that what we're doing is worthwhile. That's paraphrasing, but the nectar, the medicine, the elixir, the garden. So there's a miraculous substance known as amrit, and in the Hindu beliefs of what is a sacred nectar that contains infinite healing power. The golden nectar or sacred elixir is the drink of immortality, and like its sister substance Soma, we've heard of Soma, it's a mythical, or not necessarily mythical, used to exist, is believed to have existed, and was some magical blend of DMT, enhancing herbs, such blue lotus was believed to be an ingredient, magic mushrooms believed to be an ingredient, and it was known to activate subtle intelligent forces that ease the mind, body, and spirit and awaken us to our higher knowing. So these images are creating this idea of this archetype of sweet, potent, heavenly essence. So what is nurturing our spirit back to life at this time? The Nectar card calls us to identify and relish what places in nature, what healing rituals or practices, the people that nourish and water our inner garden, what regenerate and heal our wild medicines, what are not taking but like giving, and like how can we also emulate that? What can we give and offer, and what can we receive, and with a sense of humility and with the healing and regeneration to like what can we receive and what can we like hold in sacredness, that which we receive, and what is medicine that's needed is also something that might be what we're overlooking. So we might be seeking to nourish our spirit, and then we pick up our phone and then we scroll through social media feeds, and instead of watering our garden, we might actually feel more depleted. We might pick up an instrument and expect to be nourished by the perfection of our gift, and when we don't find that, we might find ourselves feeling frustrated and critical. And if we look to the act itself as this nourishing action, as this sacred action, that it's already in its perfect form as it is, or that we're already in our perfect form as it is, we don't need to seek some sense of approval from a number of likes or a number of just like ways of affirming that we're seen. So like it's shifting our focus from like an outward sort of sense of gaining ground, gaining approval, or gaining a sense of self, and instead returning to what is sensuous and fragrant in our inner garden. So we all knew this as children, what would nourish us the most, and sometimes it would be something that other people would find absurd, and they might have even laughed at us for it. maybe we decided to give it up because we didn't see any use in what we were doing, and maybe it just wasn't at its full expression yet. It was just early and forming. So finding what is still a seed, planting it, and in the 7th actually is the perfect time for transplanting. If you have anything growing inside that needs a bigger pot, if you have any seedlings that you've started and the weather is starting to look nice, it's time to let them get a little bit familiar with the outside, get a little more wind, a little more exposure to the climate, and prepare them for being strong and being planted outside. And this is like a metaphor for where we are in life. We have been very much seedlings indoors and we're looking forward to being in the world, but maybe we also need to nourish our inner seedling before we can have abundant nectar to feel like we've established ourselves in the world and in a way like when we're nurturing what is fragrant within, we have so much more to offer. So it is said that someone has activated the substance of soma within, and it is reflected in their shimmering eyes. And it's associated with glowing, relaxed, subtle illumination. And sometimes we get fixated on fixing, and there's an aggressiveness to our approach of healing. So the message today is to surrender that, to let that down, and to remember that the nectar, the mystic, is part of who we are. Like Krishna, who can turn poison into nectar. It is truth that can often serve as a potent elixir for healing. And this was also a Tibetan Buddhist quote to turn what is poisonous into what is nourishing. The peacock eats poisonous toxins, and that's what gives it its brilliant colors. Or you can think of the monarch butterfly, the caterpillars eating the milkweed, filling them with this toxin, making them distasteful to their predators, and giving them these brilliant colors. So what you've had to endure and overcome and go through is also going to help bring your inner nectar out in brilliant illumination. And this is all about how we're working with this energy. It's not aggressive, it's subtle, it's gentle, and it's about softening to receiving, a sense of surrender, acquiescence, or a sense of just reacquainting ourselves with what is nurturing and abundant and sweet in our essence, and savoring that in this day and all days. These nurture your